Hi,
Hello.
I'm Julian.
And I'm Down Deeper Tom.
We are Team Binge, and we are here to talk about Silo. This is going to be a recap of Season 2, and we're going to do it through trivia. And if my intro sounds a little bit stifled, it's because Tom said down deep or deep, deep down. And I don't care for the slang of this TV show Silo, although I do care for the show itself. We did do a recap of Season 1, and so if you have not listened to that one, listen to that one first. Then we're going to dive into Season 2 on this one, all leading up to Silo Season 3, the re-siloing, I believe it's called. And this one, Tom's in charge of the questions, and I have to sit back and get them all right. So, Tom, I will turn it over to you, sir.
Thank you, my friend. Now, I'm excited because I feel like the last couple times we've done trivia, you've been giving me all the questions. So now the tide tables have turned, and I'm going to give you some very, very difficult, challenging questions while recapping Season 2.
During the last several trivia, not only have I given you the questions, I've also given you the answers because you're really, really bad at it. So I'm about to show you how it's done because I have got Season 2 of Silo memorized. Have we done multiple shows since the last time we watched this one? Yes. Have I rewatched any of it? No. So, will I maybe mistake this for Widow's Bay? Probably. We'll see. I'm ready, Tom.
In my defense, like doing Season 1 trivia, that was so much further away from Season 2. So this stuff should be a little bit more fresh to your memory.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay, so here we go. Season 2 recap trivia. Now we're going to run up where you left off. Obviously in Season 1, we got Juliet. She's running around, going to do some cleaning. She does not clean. She escapes the silo, and then she goes to find some additional silo. But unfortunately, all she finds is death and destruction. Now, Julian, I'm going to start off pretty easy for you. What number silo does Juliet visit?
Ooh. Okay, so you're not asking about the silo she's leaving. You're asking the one that she goes to and finds the door with
Correct.
all the dead people around it, because I think they had like a mass exodus. So, Tom, thank you for starting easy. I don't remember the one that she left from, but the one that she went to, I'm going to guess is 13, and the one that she was at was 10. Those are my choices. Am I right on both of them?
You are wrong on both of them, unfortunately, my friend. She was in Silo 18. That was hers. And then she goes to visit Silo 17.
Silo 17. Okay, and that would make sense because sequentially 17 and then 18. And I'm going to go on a limb. Her other choice was to go to 19. But, okay. So, and those numbers, of course, are very important to the show, Tom. So it would make sense why you would have me remember them.
And there's more to, like, we do get that big cut, I think, at the end of Season 1. We see there's a bunch more, like, holes and would-be silos. And then we find out in this season that there are plenty more silos, and this is a specific one that she mentions. But I'm not going to get to the details of that until potentially a little bit later in said trivia. So
let me ask you a question. Are all my questions number questions? Are they all just like, do you remember the number of steps from the bottom of the silo to the top? Because I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to get them all right.
Listen, you started with a number question of 144, so I figured I'd give you a number question as well, both of which
fair.
we failed.
I
was closer. You know what? There was 144 and I guess 145, and there were only 50 silos, and you guessed a lot worse. So I'm going to go ahead and give myself an extra point from the first season trivia. So far, not a great start. We've got.
You didn't have to say that. You didn't have to throw in that little comment there. You could have just.
No.
You could have just given my score and moved on. Ken Jennings doesn't make fun of it. Well, actually, Ken Jennings sometimes does, and so did
he does.
Alec Trebek.
All the Jeopardy hosts do.
All right.
So we have some of the people that helped out Juliet escape this silo in Silo 18 were Martha Walker, who was the head of recycling, and we have Carla McLean, head of supply, both of which we found out were good friends and were there to help protect Juliet. Now, I don't know if we're going to get this question right, but what did they do? What did those two do to Juliet's suit to help her get away from the silo?
Well, isn't this they just provided the right material so that when they hooked her up, like the bad air didn't get in? So isn't this back to the proper tape? They provided the proper tape so that she could run around outside and live. And
Ding, 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 ding. You got it, buddy. You asked me the same question that I asked you in my trivia. But yes, they just fixed the faulty tape. They gave her the right heat tape so she could survive, not forever, but long enough to be able to make her way to this other silo.
And I just remember suits being a pretty big deal in season 2. It's like, hey, I've got to go get a new suit, or I'm looking for a new suit, or my suit works, or you can buy 7 suits for like $300 and they'll have them tailored within 2 days, much like if you've ever visited Thailand. Yeah, I remember all of the suit work that happened. So,
Yes.
yeah. That one was worth 3 points, so I'm 3 for 3. Is that what I heard you say?
3 for 4. But yeah, you're doing great.
Wonderful.
But we do find out. So so she leaves. She goes to the other silo, and then as we do cut back to silo 18, Bernard is kind of using this new tape kind of concept, saying, "Oh, it's made by our scientists, and Juliet is a hero." So he's kind of doing the political dance back in silo 18 to try to keep everybody on board and not kind of panic.
Okay. I gotcha. I remember
Yep.
this season because we're spending time in 2 different silos.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what the plural of silo is, but it was happening in this season, that's for sure.
It sure was. Now, as she gets to Silo 17, she meets a new friend. Her new friend is named Solo, who claims to be the shadow of the former head of IT for Silo 17, named Russell Conroy. Now, what does Solo suggest to Juliet to try to help her escape this silo? What does he suggest that she might need to find?
Okay, so Solo, who's played by Steven Zahn, right? Is that his name? Mm-hmm. Does a fabulous job in this. He kind of plays it a little bit almost like childlike, like maybe Solo grew up alone or got hit in the head a couple of times. And so what Solo suggests to Juliet, this is a very broad question, Tom.
Juliet she needs something in this silo to be able to try to get back to her silo. So what does Solo suggest? And I'll give you a clue.
Is it that they break into... No, because Solo has access to, like, the IT room. And so... Does it have to do with, I was going to say skydiving, but skydiving's when you fall through the sky. What's it called when you have to go into water, Tom? She swim dives? She scuba dives? Is that what it's called? She's got to go underwater to get a suit, maybe? Is that she skydives through water to get a suit? Am I right? I think I'm right.
You are. I was trying to keep it in the suit vein. Yes, she needs a suit. And specifically, because they don't have any of the actual suits needed to be able to travel, he suggests that she get a firefighter suit. Firefighter suit would be capable of surviving and allowing her to get back to her silo.
Right, because Juliet is growing, and so by the time she gets to the other silo, she's too tall for her suit, so they got to get her a bigger suit. I remember.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think she took a tumble. She got a rip in hers, so hers is not viable anymore. She's got to find a new one. And this kind of comes with the conversations with Jules and Solo, and Solo allowing her to understand that her leaving is going to potentially provide this false hope for her silo and could potentially repeat what happened in Silo 17, where the rebels rebelled and they all tried to leave the silo, and she obviously saw firsthand what happened to all the people that did try to leave.
That's right, because their silo on the outside is just a bunch of dead corpses, and I think season 1 opens with like the sheriff of their silo leading them outside because they're all convinced that it's safe. And
yes, we do a quick little flashback for like kind of what happened in Silo 17. Yep.
Right, and I believe it's the actor from the Band of Brothers that plays that sheriff, because Graham Yost produces and writes on this show. So I'm remembering all of it now. Season 2 is coming back to me in a mob of dead corpses, Tom.
It usually does. And some other little insights too from just kind of Solo's backstory, and we'll kind of get to it a little bit later, but we do find out that The real shadow of IT here was Cole Myers, who kind of went by Solo. So Solo here kind of pretends to be him, but he's actually Jimmy Conroy, who is Russell Conroy was the head of IT. So he is the son of IT, and like you kind of mentioned, Solo was kind of a recluse. He kind of has the mind of a child because when he was 12, he actually saw his father's execution right outside the vault door when his father locked him in and the rebels were doing their shenanigans. So
that's right.
Yeah, so he's got a haunted past, and he's had a lot happen to him, and Juliet kind of coming and being kind to him, as we kind of find out later throughout the season, really kind of brings him into the fold, and he's a fantastic character. And to your point, Steve Zahn is great, and I loved him in this series.
Yeah, he was great in this. He's great in White Lotus, and if I recall, he does some sneaky stuff before they meet, where he's stealing rope and moving breathing apparatuses, or maybe I'm wrong.
Mm-hmm.
No, you know what? There's other people that show up. Never mind. I don't want to ruin your questions, Tom. But it's coming back to me in a flood of dead bodies. Keep going, sir.
I love it. Okay, so let's go ahead and head back to Silo 18. Speaking of dead bodies, we have Judge Meadows, who gets poisoned by Bernard after Sims kind of about not getting named Shadow. But who ultimately gets framed for Judge Meadows' murder? Bonus points, how does she die?
Judge Meadows is obviously the judge of things. I believe she's killed by gavel. Someone shoots a gavel at her from a gun, and it hits her right in the dome. So she's killed by gavel gun, which is a phrase that people often use to describe a gun that shoots a gavel. And I'm not stalling because I know the answer. She is definitely, obviously framed by one of several people, Tom.
No. Who gets framed for her murder? Bernard is clearly the one that kills her. But
sure. Oh, of course Bernard kills her with a gavel gun. Right. Yeah. But the person that's framed for her death is, I'm going to go out on a limb and say it's Deputy Marnes, who's back from the dead, because you can't keep Will Patton down. Will Patton comes back, he flies on an owl, and he shoots her in the head with a gavel gun, but he's framed because she doesn't die. She dies from the second gavel gun to the head. Is that what happens?
Close. But no.
She's like, I can't believe I keep getting hit by all these gavel guns. Not after the second time. After the first time she says that. It's the second time she's dead, obviously.
I'm pretty sure that's a lyric in the Alanis Morissette song. Isn't it ironic? Being a judge and getting hit by a gavel gun.
Being shot twice by a gavel gun. Yeah. That's
it's like
exactly
10,000
right.
gavel guns, and all you need is a knife. I don't know. But knife is what she ultimately gets stabbed with. But it was, so she gets poisoned by Bernard while they're eating dinner. It's like her mushrooms or something like that. But Bernard ultimately frames her two friends, or Juliet's two friends, in Knox and Shirley from Mechanical.
Oh, so, that's right. The down, deeper Mechanical guys. Yep.
So they kind of find her in her office, and she's got a knife in the chest, and they kind of frame them. So there's other kind of important pieces that kind of happen here as Meadows is kind of dying. They're having this nice little dinner, and it's kind of like a slow poison. So she knows she's going to die, but then she starts confessing some stuff to Bernard and ultimately tells him, while she's dying, that the hard drive that he ultimately destroyed in season 1 might have some important information on it. So that kind of sends Bernard down a wild goose chase of trying to recover said hard drive.
Right, which I believe brings back Lucas, which I did not mention in our season 1 recap, but Lucas is another computer dude, I think, that is brought back from the mines to help Bernard, which, if I'm ruining one of your questions, I apologize, but Lucas was probably important enough to mention previously. Having not mentioned him now, I do remember what are the two people from Mechanical that get framed for the judge's death, Tom? What are their names?
Knox and Shirley.
I mean, distinctly remember them walking into our office and all of the gavels, the floor is covered in gavels, and they're kicking them out of the way, and they're like, man, someone must have come in here with a gavel machine gun. And yeah, I remember that scene. So I gotcha. I do remember. This is why I don't eat salads as well, because it's the easiest way to poison someone is through a salad, through a leafy
That's so
green.
Through a leafy green. Yeah, for sure. Okay, so let's head back to Silo 17. We have Solo is pleading for Juliet to fix the water pump before she ultimately leaves. This kind of leads to a very explosive reveal that he may not be who he thought he was, which again, I just kind of talked about earlier. He was the son of the former IT person, not who he was. But this ultimately frightened Juliet because we see a side of Solo that is very, very scary. She ultimately runs away, but eventually faints as she's trying to escape Solo. Why does Juliet faint while she is trying to run away from Solo that wants her to fix the water pump since they've got a water issue?
And the water's rising. Am I remembering that right? Like the water
Correct.
keeps coming up?
Only has a couple more months, I think, until the water level reaches IT.
Right. And he hasn't tried, if I recall, he didn't try drinking any of it to lower the level.
He did not. I think there's quite a bit of gasoline and whatnot in there. Not
Well,
probably
you just
great
don't
drinking.
drink the gasoline part, Tom. It's not that hard. You've never had gasoline water? You just drink the water part and ignore the gasoline. Not hard. It's like a salad.
Sorry.
You don't eat the stuff you don't want to eat. You don't eat the poison. You don't drink the gasoline. Not that
Just
hard.
the croutons. Yeah, okay.
Just the croutons and the dressing for me, sir. You can take the rest of this back to the chef and tell him, no thank you. All right, so she faints. Why does she faint? She faints because she has the syndrome. No, she faints because she's constantly running up and down stairs, and that's exhausting. She got exposed to probably a nuclear blast when she went from silo to silo. She faints because she hasn't had a salad in a while. Tom, I don't remember why she specifically faints for a reason. She's afraid of swimming? I remember she's afraid of swimming. Is it that?
So they called us like a handful of times, and it was kind of like a throwaway thing. But I do think that this, because of the way this was done in this season, it's going to have greater meaning. But ultimately, she gets an infection on her arm. Like when she first kind of fell into the water and arrived to the silo, she cut her suit, got a big cut on her arm, and this arm wound is constantly getting infected as she sits in the silo. For the weeks or whatever that she's here to try to help Solo.
She got sea hagged. The sea hag
She
got
did.
her. Okay, now
Could've
she's
been.
got
Could've been.
MRSA. Oh, that's right, because this leads to they amputate her arm, and then she gets a gavel gun as her arm, so then she can shoot gavels whenever she wants. I remember this now. She becomes like a mechanical woman with a gavel shooting arm. Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Man, you're gonna just stick to that well. I mean, it's a good well, but
It's a well full of gavels, Tom, and gasoline water. So now I don't remember a cut and an infection at all, but I guess they need to find medicine probably, right?
You need to find medicine. I think she ultimately does get it from Solo, but I think that this concept of her getting this kind of cut and infection, I would assume is going to potentially come back. We'll just kind of say.
It doesn't clear up? They're not like, we rubbed some down deep medicine on it and it fixed it?
Yeah, it does in this episode or in this season where it gets treated, but I just want to clock it. We know we love clocking things on this show. I just feel like that's an important enough thing to clock. And
that was Tom having read the books, knowing this is going to come into play later, and he's trying to hedge. That's what all of you can hear, the lies in his voice. That's what's happening right now. Good job, Tom.
I said nothing. Okay, you mentioned good old Lucas Kyle. So, like you said, Lucas Kyle returns from the mines of Moria.
That's two first names, by the way. I just want to point that out. That's not a full name.
Yep. We called it out in season 1. But he ultimately gets recruited to restore and repair this hard drive that was essentially beaten to a pulp, yet somehow manages to do it. It's fantastic. Watching him tinker with this and fix it was a pure joy in season 2. But he soon discovers that there was a secret letter left by, I'm not going to ask you who, because I don't think you remember who, but was left by Salvador Quinn, who was the former head of IT prior to Bernard. So what does Bernard ultimately reward Lucas Kyle with, based on finding that evidence?
All right, so he betroths Juliet to him, because we know Lucas is in love with Juliet, so Even though Juliet, in their eyes, is dead, he betroths Juliet to her, and then he also decides not to send him back to the mines that don't exist, because where would the mines be? I mean, we've seen the bottom of the silo. The mines aren't real, which is where Lucas originally was sentenced in season 1. So he gives him what I'm going to say is a Pez
promotion.
dispenser, but no candy. Was it a Pez dispenser, but no candy, Tom?
It wasn't. It was a promotion. What does he get promoted to be?
I don't know. Head of Nerdland? I don't know. What is he getting promoted to?
He gets promoted to be Bernard's shadow. So
what's
he
Bernard's job at this point? Is he just still like...
he's both. He became essentially mayor and head of IT.
That's too much power in one guy, Tom. You shouldn't.
It is.
You shouldn't hold 2 offices. That's not part of the pact. I don't know much about the pact, but I know that's not allowed.
Yeah, and as we find out, obviously the head of IT is much more than just the fixing dishwashers and that kind of stuff and fixing computer screens.
I'm sorry. Let's back up here. When you think of the head of IT, you think he's fixing dishwashers? You think these are like Samsung connect to the internet dishwashers they've got in the silo, Tom? You just revealed
TVs.
so much about your dishwasher at home, Tom. For those of you that don't know, Tom's got a dishwasher that'll do your taxes and you can watch the World Cup on it. That's the fancy dishwasher Tom's got. He needs to call IT when something breaks. Ridiculous, sir.
I immediately thought of like my IT for my work, and then it's more computers. I'm like, yeah, technically there are computers in this world, but they're very, very old, antiquated computers. But yes, the head of IT. Anyways, he gives him this this role of shadow, and it opens up a very, very interesting vault that we kind of find out that is likely where Solo is in his Silo 17. But he gets access to all these new sensitive files, gets to see this room full of relics, and ultimately ends up getting a pretty sweet, which I'm going to assume is an iPad. But he gets a tablet to be able to do all this research to continue cracking Salvador Quinn's code.
Oh, I forgot. It's like I don't know. Who's the old
get
guy that takes Harry Potter under his wing? He's a wizard.
Dumbledore?
Yeah. It's like Dumbledore's office, but like modern. And there's a super cool dishwasher in it that you use a computer with. Yeah, I remember. Honestly, I hadn't thought about this room until this moment, but that's right. It's a bunch of relics and yeah, you're a wizard, Harry. Look at this television screen. Put the forks with the forks, in the dishwasher. It's fancy, but it won't sort them itself, Harry. Come on. I gotcha. Yeah. I remember this room.
Yep, you got it.
This summer, Prime Video takes you back before Legally Blonde, before law school, and into the world of Elle Woods in high school. Set in 1995, this Gemini vegetarian knows exactly who she is until her family moves from Bel Air to Seattle. Packed with iconic fashion, 90s nostalgia, and a throwback soundtrack, Elle proves one thing. Law school was hard. High school was harder. From the world of Legally Blonde, watch Elle, a new original series only on Prime Video. Watch now.
If we knew more about our sleep, what would we do differently? Would we go to bed at a consistent time or take steps to reduce interruptions to our sleep? With Sleep Score, Apple Watch measures your bedtime consistency, interruptions, and sleep duration. Then, every morning it combines these factors into an easy-to-understand score from 1 to 100. So you'll know how to take the quality of your sleep from okay to very high. Know your sleep score with Apple Watch. iPhone 11 or later required.
Tomorrow morning is knocking. Stock your fridge now. How about a creamy mocha frappuccino drink? Or a sweet vanilla? Smooth caramel, maybe? Or a white chocolate mocha? Whichever you choose, delicious coffee awaits. Find Starbucks Frappuccino drinks wherever you buy your groceries.
Now, staying
Hey,
in
Tom,
Silo
how many
18,
points do I have?
Oh, who knows? I don't know. That was question 6, so we'll say you've got 3.
6 of 6. Oh,
Who knows?
Wrong. All right, keep
I don't
going.
think you got all
Sorry.
of them. We have the rebels. They were spreading word throughout Silo 18 about the lies and shenanigans of their leaders and the heads of IT. They do it via a super cool rocket that shoots all the way up from the mechanical and down deep all the way to the top of the silo, then releases a bunch of pamphlets. It's pretty dope. Out the entire season, as the rebels are kind of gearing up, they kind of have almost like some graffiti they put on the walls throughout the silo. Do you remember either the graffiti consists of 2 letters? Do you know what those 2 letters are? And do you know what they stand for? It's kind of their rallying cry, their hopeful message of their rebellion.
So we potted on The Last of Us, and I really wanted to say Fireflies. I wanted to be like, oh, it's Firefly, but that's the wrong show, which we potted on HBO. Go listen to that one. I'm pretty sure this is Juliet Lives. JL. What would
you nailed it.
WWJD? What would Juliet do? And everyone has these cool bracelets that they give out, and we all think about the decisions we've made in life. Juliet Lives.
Juliet Lives. Ding, ding, ding. You got it. Very well done. Rebels are constantly doing their shenanigans. We do get a bunch of different stuff from Knox and Shirley as they kind of go back and forth of one wanting to essentially lead a violent rebellion, others trying to, I think specifically in Martha, trying to kind of have cooler heads prevail. But yes, this is kind of their rallying cry, and you see this spray painted throughout the silo.
Right, and it has a dual meaning because now that Juliet is betrothed to Lucas, it could also be Juliet and Lucas, JL. So
okay.
I just want to,
Nice.
because sometimes there's a heart around it, which I think Lucas goes around and draws. But yeah, that's what happens when you get betrothed in the silo. Go ahead, Tom. I'm ready for question number 2. I'm 10 of 10.
Question number 2. This is question number 8, technically, in my outline.
Oh, okay.
Jules dives down to fix a water pump for Solo in Silo 17. Now, she succeeds, but has her airline and her support line rope cut. Now, they make a very big deal about making sure you do not come up too fast or you might get the bends. Julian, does Juliet get the bends?
She gets the bends for 5 seconds and then she's fine. She comes to, it's oh, this is the worst thing that's going to happen to her. She naps and then she's fine. Everyone's cool, all good, A+. And I also don't think she knew how to swim at a certain point. That's what the rope was for, maybe. Yeah, so
Yes.
She gets the bends for half a second and it's inconsequential later on.
I'm going to accept that answer because my answer in the outline was kinda? Question mark, question mark, question mark? So, yes,
I
I'm going to accept
remember
that.
being furious about this, if I recall.
It was just annoying because they did so much things set up for not coming up, and you figured this was going to pay off more. But yeah, it just ultimately incapacitates her for a handful of seconds as she does make her way up. And we did call this out in season 1, where she kind of goes down to the very, very bottom of the Silo 18, where George kind of had his stuff, and there was just massive lake-looking area that she goes down to. Obviously, if you grew up and lived solely in a silo, you don't have the ability to swim very well. So yes, she could not swim very well and had the air and support line that she crafted with her awesome engineering / MacGyver skills.
Yes. She's very MacGyver-ish, yes.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Okay, so let's head back to Lucas. He ultimately goes on a wild goose chase to try to translate this Book of Quinn. He crunches the numbers in hilarious fashion as he's trying to decipher this. I remember calling this out a handful of times. But he ultimately finds out that it was Quinn's personal version of the pact that had some sort of code on it that left some hidden messages for the would-be finder of this code, this book. Do you recall, Julian, what any of this code said? You don't have to have the exact verbiage, but maybe just some of the sentiment of what Lucas ultimately cracks in the Code of Quinn.
Oh, man. It's like I'm staring through a cave filled with fog, and the answer's on the other side of it. And it's... as soon as you say it, I'm going to be like, oh, I don't remember that. Never would have guessed that at all. But it's right there. It's so close. Tom... Is this one of the points when we've podcasted where you looked at written word on a screen, paused, and did you solve this riddle prior to the show solving it for us?
Well, the riddle ended up being, I think, relatively silly. It was like one word or letter was like underlined in a page, and then he had to go to different pages and then spell this out. So he's like writing this on his little book, which would have conservatively taken him probably a couple hours to solve, but they had it like be like weeks or days. But ultimately, it was just that Quinn kind of knew this whole place was full of mysteries, and the actual first code that he kind of cracked says, if you've gotten this far, you already know this game is rigged. We do eventually find out more as he continues translating it that he saw a little thing that says the founders created 50, they created a safeguard, find the tunnel for an unbelievable secret. So this is where we kind of talked at the beginning. There's silos 17 and 18 that we are seeing, but we now know that there are 50 silos that are around this general area.
So the answer I was supposed to come up with was, the game is rigged? That's what I was supposed to come up with?
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
Very pivotal moment in season 2.
Okay. Yeah, I don't remember that at all. I mean, I remember him doing like some code work, and it's kind of like the Las Vegas movie with Zach Galifianakis, where all the numbers are up. But yeah, I don't. I know I'm remembering where this all leads, like where they go with this information and what a reveal it was. And very similar to talking about Widow's Bay, the kind of lostness of it all. This show, as I'm remembering, had a lot of like lost DNA as well, in terms of hatches and hidden rooms and like secrets left to us by the all-knowing government who's on our side and loves us. So no, I didn't remember what that code said. So I'll take the loss on this one. So I'm 10 of 11, I believe, is my current score.
That sounds good. Okay, I've got 5 more. I know we're going maybe a little bit long. I'll try to get these a little bit quicker. So going back to Silo 17, we do find out that ultimately the people that cut the lines for Juliet as she was diving were children. There were 5 other children.
Children
living
are the worst, right?
living in Silo 17, even unbeknownst to Solo. Solo kind of thought it was like haunted or something like that, but no, there were children kind of hiding in the different parts of the silo. So they ultimately kidnapped Solo, and they wanted to force him to open the vault. Now, can you name, and I said name 3 of the 5 children, and I would say nicknames are allowed, but I would give you all the points if you can name one of them. Okay,
it's like Rufio, Peter Pan, and like, I don't know, Matumbo? I don't remember, Tom. I think one of the kids had a bow and arrow, and like 2 of them may or may not have been boyfriend and girlfriend, but I don't know. That was probably just based on a lack of choice. Like as soon as they get to the other silo where there's going to be other options, that relationship's not going to last. And then there's like an annoying little sibling that nobody likes. I think if I recall, all of them were named unlikable because I found all of them unlikable. Is that correct? Am I right?
That's not the official answer, so I'm not going to give you points for it. But yeah, I think these characters are definitely underbaked in season 2. They're really, really fantastic in the books, and I hope we're going to explore them a little bit more. But no, the characters' names are Audrey and Rick. They're the ones that ultimately have a baby, and they're kind of coupled in this show.
Oh yeah, the baby was super annoying. That's what I meant when I said there was a younger sibling that everyone was like, man, this baby's so annoying. That's what it was.
Yes.
I remember now.
There also is one other, but I don't think he's named, but the one that they kind of tease a bunch is Hope, is her name, but they kind of call her Eater just because she's essentially a mouth to feed and doesn't add to the group. But she's one that ultimately kind of connects with Juliet, and they have a lot of heart-to-heart. And she's a great character in the show and the books.
That's the mean nickname. I'll just say that, to call someone Eater just because they're useless. I'm called Eater, but for a different reason, Tom. It's because I like to eat and am hefty. So, yeah, go ahead.
Hefty. Okay, let's head back to Lucas real quick. He finds the door at the bottom of the silo below the digger.
Dun, dun,
we find out, yes, it becomes an AI voice known as the algorithm, which says only 3 others have made it this far to see this fancy underground door. Who are those 3 people, Julian?
Okay. One's Elon Musk, and then Sam, I want to say Huberman, something like that. And then the other one is, what was the lady that ran the blood work company that wore the black turtlenecks? And
Theranos?
Yeah. Her name was Thermos. Yeah, Thermos, Sam Huberman, and Elon Musk. Those are the 3 people that I think, Tom, this was my first exposure to AI before it took over the world, was this show. I was like, oh, robots can talk. Certainly wasn't Terminator in the 80s, but it is what it is. Tom, I have no idea who the 3 people were that made it down to down to
this door. So it was George. George was one that went down here. Which is
Are you talking about George?
Yes.
First name George, last name George?
Season.
George?
Yes.
Okay.
George made it. Meadows and Quinn. So Judge Meadows made it down here, which is, I think, why ultimately Judge Meadows wanted to just get the heck out of there. And then Salvador Quinn was also there, which is how he got all these clues to get there. And ultimately, this algorithm, he gives him a warning. He says, you cannot tell anybody, and that if he does, the safeguard protocol will be initiated, which we find out a little bit later. That the safeguard protocol is essentially poison gas that is in the pipes throughout the silo and will just gas and kill the entire silo.
Sure, because that makes sense. We built these silos to, I don't know, save humanity, but we gave them a self-destruct button. That makes a lot of sense. Thanks, founders or AI. Thanks, Musk, Huberman, and Thermos. Good job building it. Okay. Did we find it? Is Salvador Quinn an alias, or was that the person's real name? Because
that was the person's real name. He ultimately goes to the family. Lucas Kyle does, and that's how he ultimately gets the original packed version of him. So yeah, he was a member of the silo that did live. He was the head of IT prior to Bernard, I believe.
If my name's Salvador, I'm going by a nickname. I just go by Quinn. Salvador is so long. I mean,
I don't know, Sally Quinn. That's a pretty dope name.
Tom, can I have a nickname? I don't want to be Julian anymore. Can I be Salvador? Will you call me Salvador?
Sure, Quinn. I'll call you Salvador.
Wonderful. All right.
All right, Quinny. The Silo Enforcers, known as the Raiders, go to take out the rebels, but unbeknownst to them, Mechanical has a amazing ability of using sign language. We find out that they, living in Mechanical and the loud noises of everything, they can use hand gestures to talk to each other, which outwits the rebels and ultimately allows them to plant a bomb later or much higher in the silo on the stairs. The problem with said bomb is that someone needs to manually signal it because, of course, the bomb doesn't work. Now, who, Julian, ultimately has to make the ultimate sacrifice and signal this remote bomb 2 feet away from it?
I'm going to say it's Walker. I think Walker blows herself up because she, much like Ruth in Widow's Bay, would love to sacrifice herself for the greater good. And am I right? Is it Walker?
You're not. It is one of the older characters in the show, but it was Dr. Daddy, Dr. Pete Nichols.
Oh, we haven't even talked about him. Jorah Mormont. Yeah, he's all brooding and sad, and my daughter doesn't love me, and oh, I'm a doctor. Yeah, I remember. Okay. All I'll remember from this scene is our good friend and listener Barrett writing us about how concrete saws, because they use a concrete saw and they cut a perfect circle in the concrete floor, and he's like, you can't turn a concrete saw like that. It's like you're making straight cuts. It would be a square hole. And I think about that all the time now. So not only was the bomb defective, but the hole in the concrete was also wrong.
That's fair. But he does have a beautiful moment where, he sacrifices himself. He tells Hank to, hey, tell Jules that I love her and that he is incredibly proud of her. So, beautiful moment, and I'm sure Hank will potentially pass this news on to Julia for season 3. Okay, I got 2 more questions to close this out. So Lucas ultimately reveals the tunnel knowledge, and he does so very kind of quietly to Bernard, whispers it to him. I'm assuming so the algorithm doesn't know that he's telling him this, and then poison this entire silo. But ultimately, the reason why he and Meadows quit was because of the knowledge of this kind of tunnel below. But who ultimately, when kind of Bernard kind of calls it quits and he starts running out the silo, who ultimately does he put in charge, or who takes over the role of head of IT?
I'm sorry, Bernard is trying to leave the silo?
So Lucas tells him this thing about like the silo and this like underground tunnel. Yes, with the safeguard protocol, Bernard essentially realizes like it's over for him. He's going to essentially leave. So he goes and puts on a suit, and he goes and kind of confronts Juliet at the door as Juliet's kind of coming back. But before he does that, somebody else kind of goes into the vault and takes over the role of this new head of IT.
I would assume it's Sims. Sims is always waiting in the wings to take over, right? Is it Sims?
It sure is. It's Sims, and he ultimately takes his wife, Camille, and his kid into this vault. And the algorithm talks to him, essentially says, hey, you're the new leaders. But there's a very interesting kind of twist where it tells Sims and his kid essentially to leave. I want to talk to Camille. So Camille seems to potentially have some sort of relationship, or is going to be maybe kind of the new head of this stuff. It's interesting that the algorithm wanted to talk very specifically just to her. But that was kind of the last thing we left with that piece of it in that silo.
Got it. I had forgotten that Bernard, because there's like a safety suit for his, like the head of IT, right? There's like a spare suit that he has access to. I had forgotten that he tries to get out of the silo, or does get out of the silo. I honestly don't remember.
Well, so he's like in the stairs, like as Juliet's trying to come back to the silo, and she kind of like holds up a little sign that says like, hey, it's not safe outside, as she's trying to get back, like open the door and get back into silo 18, runs into Bernard, who's got like her at gunpoint. There's like a fight that ensues, and they ultimately both get locked in kind of the decontamination zone of before you get in and out of a silo. And as we've seen in prior episodes, that room to decontaminate gets completely riddled with fire to decontaminate. So I don't know if we... Gavels, yeah, gavels. Well, gavels on fire.
They fire gavels to knock out whoever's in there, and then they turn the fire on. I remember now.
Yes. So we'll see. We don't know what happened. I think essentially it just ends with them both being aflame, and we know Juliet lives because she's in trailers, but we don't know necessarily the fate of everybody else and what's going to happen.
So does she travel back in a firefighter suit? Is that why she's able to survive the fire room, you think?
I can't recall for sure. I believe that was the case. Like, she got some tape, she got the firefighter suit, so maybe that will allow her to get this extra set of protection.
Do we know if Bernard is alive?
I don't think the show tells us, so I'm not going to conjecture. We'll find out, I would assume, very early in season 3.
Did I answer all the questions, Tom?
You answered all but one, because the show doesn't end there. We do get a little tag at the very end, which takes us to modern times. So we see this new scene outside of the silo, which is very jarring, and I loved the way they shot this because everything in this show has been very like dark and ominous and brown tones, yet now we're kind of out in Washington, D.C. at a bar. And we ultimately find out this is a flashback where we have a Washington Post journalist named Helen confronting a congressman named Daniel Keene about an imminent radiological threat or potential dirty bomb from Iran. So kind of scary topical nowadays. But he ultimately leaves upset. They thought it was going to be a date, but it was ultimately her kind of like confronting him as a congressman and the things that he knows and has been a part of.
Junior congressman.
Junior Congress, exactly. But ultimately gives her a parting keepsake. What does he give before he leaves that dinner table?
Quack, quack, the Pez. An empty Pez. Like empty promises that junior congressmen are constantly giving us. It's symbolic of what they don't give to us. It was the Pez.
Exactly. This is one of the relics that started it all. It's the Pez. It's brand new, but it's the one that we see in season 1. And bonus points if you know why he gave her a duck Pez dispenser.
I'm going to say she went to the University of Oregon.
Nailed it. She was a University of Oregon alum. They kind of had that in their little kind of small talk beforehand. So that's why he got her this little duck Pez dispenser. So
yep. It was in her Grindr account when he swiped right. So that's how they ended up on the date. I know exactly what happens.
So there you have it, Julian. I think I had 14 questions. I think you got pretty much every single one of them right. So I'm going to give you a bonus point for just being awesome. So 15 out of 14 points. Really proud of you.
I did
really
incredible.
Proud of you, buddy.
Tom, I'm not going to lie, that was very helpful because there were definitely parts of season 2 that I did not remember and that jarred it. And the main thing I just want to point out is, as you were being like, all right, we're back in Silo 18 and we're back in Silo 17, I think that was maybe our big complaint about season 2. And I think it's easier to tell that story in a book of which you've read and I have not. But in a TV show, if I recall, it was a bit jarring to go back and forth from silo to silo, especially when your main character, who's Juliet, is alone or relatively alone, handling her own stuff in the other silo. So the thing I'm excited about season 3 is that she will be back and we will all be under a single roof, a single silo, all getting along magically and everything will be good. Well, for what it's worth, obviously we end this season with this flashback, and I believe they shot season 3 and 4 either back to back or very close. So I'm hoping these are going to get released pretty quick to each other. But I wouldn't be surprised if we do have some of that same conceptual stuff going on, where we're going to jump back and forth instead of silos. We might jump back and forth in time. That's fair. That's fair. I mean, don't they just steal House of Dynamite, the movie, and make this? That movie didn't have an end, so don't they just tack this TV show on as the end of House of Dynamite? Doesn't that make sense?
I mean, Rebecca Ferguson was in that movie, so it could have been.
Man, I'm better at this than I thought. I made that joke and forgot that she was in both that show and this one. What if there is overlap? Oh, man. Catherine Bigelow is a genius. Oh, if you rearrange the names of Catherine Bigelow, it spells out Graham Yost. Are Graham Yost and Catherine Bigelow the same person? Quite possibly, yes. This doesn't make any sense to people that haven't seen the movie House of Dynamite on Netflix, but it will very soon. This is where the world's heading. Tom, I appreciate you sharing those questions with me. I don't know that we have much to conjecture about season 3 other than what we just talked about, but for those of you that have listened and joined with us, we'd love to hear your scores, or really you can just send an email that says I did better than Julian or worse than Julian. You can reach us at teambingepodcast@gmail.com. If this is the first time you've ever listened to us, I'm even more sorry than the last one we released. You can please take the time to rate and review Spotify. You can just hit 5 stars at the top and follow. And then Apple Podcast is huge for podcasters. It means the world to us. Please take the time to rate and review on there. And we do read 5-star reviews on pod as we're working through Silo, the season 3. Tom, what did I forget?
Yes, and follow us on the socials at Team Binge or at Team Binge Podcasts. Let us know what you're looking forward to. We know there's some trailers out there. I don't necessarily love to do like trailer deep dives. I'd rather just kind of experience the show. So as a book reader, I mean, again, just like with the show, it's obviously been a while since I've read the books, but I mean, I think we're in for a wild ride, and the show and the books were both fantastic. And yeah, we might have had some little qualms about maybe season 2, but this is, I think, still premier Apple TV television, and I cannot wait for more. And for what it's worth, too, just for the general audience, this first episode is releasing on 4th of July weekend, so bear with us if we've got a little bit of a delay. Somebody on this podcast, not going to say who, might be going out of town, so just bear with us. We'll get this podcast out as soon as we can for the first episode.
Not only out of town, out of the country, because every 4th of July I leave America just to remember what it's like not being here. That's the sacrifice that I've made, Tom. For Team Binge, I am Julian.
And for Team Binge, I'm Tom. Till Silo Season 3, y'all. Talk to you soon.